Hey everyone! We're just going to take a couple minutes to let everyone get on before we start today. Sorry, that face wasn't for anybody. That was for my watch. My watch doesn't like to, tell me what time it is sometimes. If you've just joined us, please put in the comments where you're from. Hi! If you're just joining us, just put in the comments where you're from and let us know you're here. So my name is Kat, and I am the program specialist for the North Platte area for Girl Scouts Spirit of Nebraska. Today we are working with Conservation Nebraska, and we are going to learn how to make our own paper. But before we get to that, I want to remind everyone that you can use one of these virtual programs to cover a slot for your passport program. Because we're not having actual in-person programming right now, these programs will allow you to mark off any blank that you would like to. So make sure you cover your passports, you can write on which virtual program you've attended, and that will count towards the passport program. So without further ado, we are going to go over to Alicia now, and she's going to tell us how to make paper.
Hey guys, so today we're going to make paper. So how to make paper from home is pretty easy. So we're going to use old newspaper, and you can use any old paper that you're not using anymore. And what we do is we just start kind of ripping it up. And you're going to need a blender for this. So it could be one of the personal blenders, or it can be like a high-speed blender. So then I'm just ripping the longer pieces into smaller ones and putting them straight into the blender. And I have some water here. It's just the hottest water that comes out of the tap, but you can also boil the water, and it'll help break down the paper a bit more. So this is a pretty good amount of paper. Just fill it like halfway. And then you want to do a 2-to-1 ratio, so you'll put twice as much water as paper. And it's not measured. You just kind of eye it. And this is going to be a little loud.
Definitely get a parent's permission or a parent's help to use their blender.
So then we're going to put this is paper pulp now. So we're going to put the paper pulp into a large bowl. And as you can see, this is pretty thick. What we're going to do is we're going to add more water. because you want it to be pretty watery, or else it'll be too thick. More. So you want it to be, you want to still be able to fill the paper pulp, but you want it to kind of run through your fingers. You don't want it to be too clumpy. So there's a couple different ways you can make paper at home. You can use an old screen to make paper and push it through there. But if you don't have access to that, you can do it just with having a cutting board, something under to catch any water that comes out, and textured fabric, a thin kitchen towel or cheesecloth, and then other microfiber towels and other towels to catch the water. So for this one I'm just using a thin kitchen towel, and it's doubled over, and I just lay it across the cutting board, and you can use your hands or a spoon. I just use my hands. And then you just kind of plop it on there. You can do one even layer. And this is just the base. So this is going to be kind of a darker paper since it's from newspaper. But if you use like notebook paper or old printer paper, it'll be lighter in color, depending on the ink also used. So you can see like a lot of water is coming off of this onto the towel, and that's perfectly fine. And you're going to want to, you can make it any shape you want. I'm going to just do like a kind of a rough rectangular shape. And you don't want it to be super thick, but you don't want it to be too thin either. So you don't want to see through it, but you don't want it to be super piled high. And if it's a bit thick, you can just add some water from your bowl into it. So that looks pretty good. So I'm going to use this microfiber towel right here and just drape it over and kind of push down on it, and you'll see water's already coming through it. And then I have another towel. And then you can get a rolling pin or a bottle, and you're just going to roll it over that. So this is taking out a lot of that excess water, and it's going to make the shape of the paper. And you can take off each one and just wring out the towels into your bowl. So you can use that water in there later. You're going to want to slowly peel it back when you're doing this. And you can see that it's thinned out considerably, and you can see a lot of the water has left it. You can kind of fill it, see how thick it is or thin it is. I think I might roll it one more time. And you can do the last time. You can do it either with both towels or one towel. But you've got a lot of that water out, so you might not need the second towel. And then peeling it back again, slowly. And now we have a piece of paper. So you can dry it on whatever cloth you put it on, or what I do is I have another towel. I lay that out, and then I slowly pick this up and flip it over, and you can peel back the fabric or the towel from the paper. So you just grab an edge that and you can slowly peel it And it might rip, but when you lay it down, you can kind of mend that. So there's our first piece of paper. And it can just dry on there, and I have enough room to put about 4 on here. So a cool thing about papers that you, recycled paper, is you can kind of make it whatever you want. So the next one we're going to do some seed paper. And for this, I'm just grabbing some bee seed that I have. And this is just for bees. It'll attract, the flowers will attract the bees. So I'm just going to grab some of this and put it on there. And you can kind of make the shape. And then make like a circular piece of paper. Just make sure you have it spread evenly. And then with the seeds, you can either pour it in the base or you can put it on top. So I just grabbed a couple of seeds, sprinkle it on there. And you can write notes on this, and then once you're done with it, you can put it outside and somewhere that the seeds will germinate. So in some dirt outside, and then you can have some wildflowers for bees. Because the paper will decompose and go away, and the seed will germinate. So I kind of just encase them in there a little bit. You can make it to where you can see them. If you put it in the base, you can see them a little better, but they could also come out that way as well. So we're just going to repeat the process.
Rhino used to be one of our counselors, and he said this would have been a great activity for the girls during one of those rainy summer days out at Camp Maha. I think that's a great rainy day camp idea.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Thank you for that, Rhino. So let's see if we can see seeds.
See a few seeds in there. Just gonna go over it one more time. We got most of the water out, but there's a little bit of excess in there that we'll grab. And it's just the same process of peeling it off. So here's another one, and that's with seeds. And then you can add other colored papers. So if you have colored paper, I have some blue here and some green. You can just add that into the base. And this one's a little bit thicker, but when we add it to the base, it will thin out a bit. So you can see the blue in there. I'll add a little bit more.
So was it construction paper that you used to make those?
You can use construction paper or colored printer paper. They'll both will work. This one was colored printer paper. And just grab it up. You can see the green coming through. Maybe a little bit of that light blue in there too.
Mm-hmm.
This one had a lot of water.
Yeah, you can hear the water coming out of it.
This is just the first pass of getting some of that water out before that one was really watery. Okay. I'll use this one. So, in addition to the seeds that you can also add dried flower petals, and it'll give it a botanical look. That one's just for looks, though. That one really can't get any more flowers out of that one. And you can make a bunch of pieces of paper and even make a journal out of these. I'll do one more pass because this one was really wet.
How long do they take to dry?
They take anywhere from 12 hours to like a full day. It depends on how thick they are though as well. If they're really thick, they're going to take probably the full day. The full 24 hours. So, but if they're thinner, they can be dry from anywhere from, I would say, 3 to 12 hours to be dry completely.
So using paper like this would be a good way to space your seeds out when you do like square foot gardening or anything like that.
Yeah. Now we have a green piece of paper.
It's pretty neat.
And then something that I've done for the holidays is make recycled Christmas cards. But what you do with that, what I did with that was I put glitter in the base. So it gives it glittery shine. So I just have some glitter here. You can just dump it into the base, mix it in. And you can also, with the colored paper, you can just add more water to the colored paper and you can just have that. You don't have to mix it into the base, you can just have it. And then it'll be like the bright green color.
Oh, it looks really watery too.
As you get towards the end, a lot of the excess water that I've been putting back in will be coming out, and that'll make a slightly thinner page, but And in the colored paper too, you can also put seeds in that as well. And you can even put the paper into different shapes or silhouettes of characters, and you can draw their face on it.
Could you use cookie cutters?
Yeah.
To make the shapes?
Yeah. As you can see, this one's really thin.
Yeah.
A lot of water. So you can add more paper pulp to it as well. So the thinner they are, the harder they are to get off of the page. But if you want to leave them on there, if they're thin, you can. You can see the glitter.
Oh, yeah. And that one almost seems more green.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems like I got a little bit more of the green in there.
Cool.
And then here, once they've dried, they're going to be a little bit rippled like this, which is okay. But you can see, like, this one is a seed one. And the seeds are kind of just on top of that one. But I have a couple of other seed ones where it was, this one's a seed one, but you really can't see the seeds on this one because it's kind of sandwiched in there.
Right.
But once they're dry, you can press them and make them flat. Or if they're almost dry, you can press them. It'll shape it, get a better flat shape that way. But they'll be rippled like this unless you press them. But this is the final result of the recycled paper.
Now, did you use the newspaper pulp for that one?
This one is not it's a mixture of newspaper and regular white printer paper.
Okay.
It's a little bit lighter, but they also will dry lighter than they are right now.
So would this be a good opportunity to use like the paper that comes out of a shredder?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So if you have a shredder and you have paper, you can just like with newspaper, you just put it in the blender with water and
mix it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's pretty neat. Does anyone have any questions for us? We'll give them a couple minutes. There's a little bit of a delay. In the meantime, I'm just going to show you guys the paper again. That's the seed paper. There's the colored paper. And then there's the colored paper with the glitter. As I move it around, you can see the glitter really good. So it doesn't appear that there are any questions. I want to thank you very much for showing us how to make recycled paper. So I will turn it back over to me now. So thank you for watching today. Don't forget that tomorrow morning we have our live horse lessons with Dusty Trails. And then tomorrow afternoon we have an entrepreneur interview with an artist from the Lux Center. And I know that if you're like me or if you've been stuck in your house for a while, we all have a little bit of cabin fever. So I know here in North Platte that today is gorgeous. Get outside and go in your backyard and take in some of the sun and some of the fresh air and enjoy the rest of your day. Have a wonderful week, guys. Thanks. Bye.